The Modern Game Podcast.
Bro, Tottenham 2, Manchester City 0. And you know what? It's as I predicted. You see, when we was talking about, I think it might even have been the first episode that's on the YouTube when we was talking about the Spurs West Brom game. I said something about City's high line and Son getting in behind. That's exactly what happened, bro, because City must have had Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg at centre-back because their line was high. And then,
Jesus Christ.
obviously, it's a lovely ball from Ndombele. Son's got in behind. Kane's done well to draw two defenders out the game. It was a lovely little finish from Son for the first goal.
People will look at the stats, they'll go, City had 25 shots, City dominated the game, they had whatever possession, but they didn't convert their chances, and that's the main thing that matters.
But you know what, yeah? Man City were doing BDSM the way they were whipping balls, bro, all game. All game they was whipping balls, but at the end of the day, they might have had more possession, but they was never in control of the game. The way Mourinho set us up to defend as a unit, Son and Kane were doing their defensive duties. The way we were set up, like it's a tactical masterclass from Jose.
It's completely irrelevant to the game. I swear Cavs does Spurs reviews like he's on live at the Apollo. The references is gone, mate.
You know what it is though? Sometimes I'll watch the Spurs game, and especially since there's no fans now and I can't go to the games or nothing. I might be on FaceTime to a mate while I'm watching the game, and then naturally I feel like we'll do a watch along at some point, but I reckon I'm quite an entertaining guy to watch a game with, because I come out with things that aren't necessarily relevant to football, but still relevant to the game at the same time. But I'm sure Charlie's got a few things to add about the game, since he's 50% a Spurs fan as well.
I mean, he sort of covered it all, but there was one chance that City had right at the start of the game. De Bruyne, I think it fouled him on a penalty spot, and Jesus was on the floor, and all he had to do was play in either corner, lift it up slightly, and he just smashed it at Jesus. If he puts that in, games is completely different. Games changed. If they would have scored one, I feel like we were not in that game. If they would have scored one, they would have just turned it on its head. But obviously it's ifs and buts, and at the end of the day, Pep's style of football is sort of going out of fashion.
What they want out of you,
it's a tough shout. It is a tough shout, but it's been proved so far this season.
But what they wanted out of you was, if they'd have, I think if Jesus' goal would have counted or they would have took the lead, it really would have took you out of the game. Because
that's what I'm saying.
The game that you're playing is that early goal was massive for you, because it meant that you could sit and soak pressure, knowing that on the counter you're probably the most dangerous team in the league at the moment. Whereas I hate giving them compliments, But if they get that first goal, they know you've got to come onto them, and obviously they'll just pick you apart then. But they haven't had that this season.
What they did was play their regular style of football. They were trying to pass it around, get out wide to Torres and Mahrez, and float balls over the top. But it doesn't work anymore, and it's proved where they are in the league.
Is that personnel though? Are Torres and Mahrez, Sterling and Salah?
No, but you know what? They've been given quality wingers.
Yeah, but also they've been given the money. It's not like Pep said, I want Mahrez, I want Torres, and it's his fault. And he's got to should adapt. See what Mourinho does is he adapts every single game. He changed his shape, changes personnel depending on who we're playing, and he'll change it up in order for us to gain an advantage. Pep plays the same football, basically the same lineup every single game.
But let's just theoretically say, if you're Pep, how do you set up before that game?
Well, I've not got the managerial experience.
They did play their usual. Yeah, sorry, Charlie.
He would have spent the whole of the international break analysing our style of football. Everyone knew that was going to happen. Everyone knew. I don't know how he would have changed his system to like attack it differently, but he should have changed something. I don't know what it would have been, but just approach the game differently. And obviously don't know what, but I don't know. It's hard to look at that team and how Pep sets it up every single week and be confident as a City fan.
But all I'd have said was, for me, if I'm Pep, I've got a lot of experience on Football Manager now, so so we've got. If you look at both our CVs, I'd probably say he's there. I'm probably here. Maybe a bit more even. Anyway, I would say that they set up a really similar way to how you were going to set up. So two, like a bank of 4 and a bank of 5, and sit and wait for you to come onto them. Because if Mourinho wants to then go and take the game by the scruff of the neck, they're
that would end it in a
players.
draw most likely.
But I mean, that's a better result already. If they get a draw out of the game, they'll take that 100%.
If we would have tried to set up and play passing football, nice football, and they did the same, they would have completely outplayed us. They would have won the game.
But if they sit and wait for you to come onto them, they'll open you up.
But you know what it is, yeah. Bearing in mind, I don't watch with Sky Sports crowd. I watch, I want to hear the players shouting, and we are playing so deep. Our defenders are sounding like Dutchavelli, bro. And I'll have it no other way, because had we have gone and tried to play football against Man City, we would have lost that game.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's why I attribute the win to Mourinho fully, and to yeah.
Go on,
Jamie,
go on.
We'll move on.
We'll move on.
No. Before we move on, I just want to say, I've got nothing but positives to take from this game. Every single player on that pitch.
That's what I was about to say.
Every single player on that pitch put a shift in, and I was so happy with the fullbacks, especially Serge Aurier, who gets a lot of, he's got a lot of critics for admittedly poor performances a lot of the time. He done very well. Reguilon was tight to Mahrez, almost as tight as Dan's jeans are to his legs. So I've got nothing but positives to take from this game, and I feel like I've said enough. I'm very happy with Chelsea next week.
The Vine's back out on Dante.
If anyone watching this clip wants to set up, I don't know, a charity for me to get some baggy jeans because I can't afford them.
Get him some jeans, man. I've seen the guy come in. The jeans are hugging his legs so much. The man's struggling to breathe.
It's all right, Dan. We've all been there.
Cheers, mate.
I don't know if you watched the game, but we actually played really well. I think we're very, very unlucky to not even get a point.
It reminded me a bit of the Spurs game. I just thought he created more clear-cut chances. Like the Townsend chance, he has to put away. But I'm sure
he's a left back though, and
I know.
I think first half I think we kept them out first half. They had a couple of good chances. Martial on the 6-yard box where he's hit it pretty much straight at Johnston. Johnston's made a good save, but if he didn't save that, I would have been a bit disappointed. We've defended quite well, which is a massive difference to what we've been like for the first 10 games. Because obviously you have seen we've been very poor defensively. We didn't really create that many chances in the first half. We had a Bartley header in the about halfway point where he's headed it just over from a corner, which wasn't it's not a clear-cut chance because it was a difficult header. But other than that, we didn't create much in the first half. But second half, I think we played very well.
I think you were the better team.
And then obviously we were. The penalty is just.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention the penalty.
Honestly, what can you say? To me, as soon as Gallagher went down, I shouted for a penalty, but then you saw the camera panned to Gallagher and you could see him like mouth. I don't think that was a pen. He said it himself. But looking back at it, I don't see how it's not a pen. He's not. Fernandes hasn't changed where the ball's gone. He's not changed the direction of the ball. He's gone through the player to get the ball, and it's a foul. It's anywhere else on the pitch that's a foul.
But I do want to say for the first penalty, I think it was a great save from Johnston. But obviously he was on his
6-yard line, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say he was off the line like Chelsea fans at half time.
But do you know what? He's come out and said himself, which I think is very true. If a goalkeeper's not allowed to come off their line a yard, Fernandes shouldn't be able to do that run up where he's jumping up and down. That shouldn't be allowed. If a goalkeeper's not allowed to come off his line,
I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree.
We're gonna have to start a new meeting, aren't we? So
we are gonna have to start a new meeting.
Yeah, let's end this one here, and then we'll.
I've got more.
I'll carry on.
Actually, mate.
Oh, go on then.
No, so I've only got less. I've got less than a minute.
That's what I said.
About 15 seconds.
That's what I said. I was saying.
They're still making it onto the Spotify as well. They're still making it onto the Spotify.
End this meeting now, and then you can carry on your point.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's what.
How is it fair for an attacker to take a penalty by hopping, skipping, jumping, like not making it visible when he's about to kick the ball, and then not fair for a goalkeeper to jump one centimetre off his line, whether it's a centimetre, a yard, whatever, he's not allowed to come off his line whatsoever. I don't see how that's fair. I think Fernandes is playing it as into He's waiting for him to make that move, which that's not fair. That's not how a penalty should be taken. Which I agree with him. I completely agree with him.
I know Charlie doesn't. I can see it. It's,
Yeah, I know.
we've had a little we've
We
had a
had
conversation
this
previous
discussion
about
before.
this.
My point was, I feel like the way Fernandes runs up, does the hop, skip, and jump the same way Jorginho does. I feel like that's the same as a keeper waving his arms about, clapping, kicking the post, smashing the bar.
No,
Keepers are allowed to do that. If a keeper moves the bar and the bar comes down 1 inch, that's the same as a keeper coming 1 inch off his line. It's the same. It's the same. I know it doesn't sound the same because Cabs is giving me weird vibes, but
I do.
in the
but the bar doesn't drop and stay.
yeah,
down, does
the
it?
bar
That's
doesn't drop
all.
for 1
Yeah, I
inch.
don't know about that one.
Bro,
That's a
this
bit
is
of a
not a
weird
Europa League
analogy.
game. It's not. It's not a Europa League game where Mourinho's touching the bar to show that it's.
No, I know, but no, my point is, I feel like saying that players shouldn't be allowed to do whatever run up they want doesn't gain the same advantage as a keeper coming out and making the goal smaller.
It does though.
It's not the same.
The goalkeeper's visibly moving to one side before he's kicked the ball because he's fooled them to make them think he's kicked it
Well, the
already.
keeper should stand still until.
No, but
he
did they
hits the ball.
did they
I
not
thought they
introduce a
banned-
rule?
I thought
Yeah,
they
yeah.
banned
Did
They
they,
did.
did they
No,
not
no,
introduce
they
a rule
didn't.
that you're not allowed to
They
do a
did.
stutter?
Charlie,
You're
there
not allowed
was
to
a
do a
rule.
fake.
Yeah.
Listen,
Listen
listen.
stutter.
So what's the
They
difference
banned
between a
it.
stutter and a hop? It's the same thing. So
No,
why
a
is that not
stutter-
banned as well? What's the
A
difference?
stutter is if you stop. If
But
Fernandes
he's
is
telling
That's
doing,
what he
He's
does.
still
That's what he
stopping.
does.
He's
That's what
still
he does.
stopping.
He stops.
He's forcing the
shoot,
keeper
it's the
into
same as a
moving.
stutter. It's the
It's
same as a
Yeah,
forcing
stutter.
the keeper
He
to
waits
make
for
the
the
same
keeper to
movement as
dive.
he would if you stop.
Waits for the keeper to dive, puts it the other way. He does it every time. Jorginho, like you
If-
say,
if it-
Jorginho does the same thing.
if he hasn't kicked the ball yet, why is the keeper diving?
But that's the same.
Because
That's
he
the same as
puts
the
it-
starter.
You
They
should have to
banned the
dive.
starter.
If he
Because
doesn't dive until he kicks the ball, it's a goal. From 12
exactly.
yards, you hammer the ball from
Yeah,
12
but if he
No,
doesn't,
I'm with you,
if he
Jamie.
doesn't
I'm with
put it
you.
in the corner,
Yeah, bro.
the point. My main point is, if a player doing that jump, doing a little hop, skip, and jump, is the same as a keeper, like putting him off
It's
any
not.
way, shape, or
It's
form.
not though,
It's not.
bro. Leave hopscotch to the primary school playgrounds, bro. Not for
Because
penalties.
It's not.
When we had this conversation the other day, Charlie, I thought, yeah, no, you know what, you're right. But now that I just feel like
You slept on it now.
as a keeper, if
Yeah,
I'm
but-
in goal
but the rule
and someone
is-
fakes to shoot and
You're
I
gonna dive.
and then he puts it the other way, that's not fair.
It's not fair.
That's
It's not
as
fair.
fair
At
as jumping off the line.
In the same point, if the rule is the keeper cannot come off his line at all, and that's just how the rule is.
Yeah,
the rule
I
made
don't
the
disagree
rule.
with why the penalty was
Clearly-
But
really
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Bruno Fernandes is basically gaining an advantage by jumping up in the air, waiting for the keeper to move. He's gaining
Yeah.
an advantage from that.
No, but it's
But
not like he
Johnston
stops,
can't come off his
waits
line
for him
to
to move,
gain
and then
an
kicks
advantage
it.
back from
He doesn't.
He
He doesn't
basically
wait for a
has, though.
prolonged period of time.
No, yeah, he doesn't
So-
just he
so
doesn't jump. He
essentially-
doesn't stay in the air and
but
jump,
he
like
steps into
hover in
the
the air
floor.
until he's done it.
So he steps into the floor with his standing foot, which makes it seem like he's going to shoot.
As a keeper, you do your research on how players take their pens. Fernandes has taken how many penalties for United? How many penalties in his career? If Johnston knows he's
Yeah,
going to do that stop, why
Johnston,
is
yeah,
he
but
diving?
I do hear
He-
that.
he
I do hear
clearly-
that.
yeah, but Johnston clearly did do his research because he saved the first one. But
Yeah, because he
That's
came
what
off
He
his
almost had
line.
the second one.
Yeah, he did. He went
Yeah,
the
I
right
thought-
way. He went the
he
right
went
way.
That's
the
what
right
I
way.
mean. But Dan, but that's what for the second one he had to dive late because he's fucking.
I think he
if he didn't,
still dived off his line the second one.
No, but you know
Yeah,
what?
he
Yeah,
did, he
as a
probably did.
goalkeeper, in order to ensure that you don't step off your line, you basically have to stand behind the line
You
when
have
a
to
penalty
stand
is
behind
taken.
the line.
And then at
Yeah,
that
but
point,
then
it's-
that's just how it is. Because then when you come forward, you're on your line.
But I feel like that's just unfair on keepers then.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
so as
No,
well.
but-
I think so as
no, but
well.
it's a
keepers-
massive disadvantage for keepers.
But that's like saying if keepers are allowed to come off their line 1 inch, Fernandes should be able to move the ball forward 1 inch off the penalty spot.
No, but
No,
let's
No,
be
still
honest. Yeah,
creating an
let's be honest.
advantage. It's not by margins. It's whether you're creating an unfair advantage. And
No, but
both
let's
of
be
them
honest,
create
yeah,
an
we've-
unfair
Yeah,
We've all-
coming off
we've
your
all
line is
played
an unfair
football.
advantage.
We've all played football. None of us are professionals, but admittedly, taking a shot from 12 yards out into a massive 11-a-side goal, it's very easy to score. It is, especially as a professional footballer.
But
So
that's
as
the
a keeper-
dynamic of a
as-
penalty.
but yeah, of course. But as a keeper, to stand 1 centimeter off your line, I don't think that's a massive advantage now for the keeper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easier to score penalties than it is to miss them as a professional footballer. Do you not think a keeper should be
Yeah.
allowed that little bit of leeway to be a 1 centimeter? in
I
front of his line?
see. I agree
No.
with the rule where the keepers should be on their line, but I disagree with the rule that if you're going to have a rule for keepers and you're going to try and enforce a rule for players, enforce a rule for players as well.
Yeah, but
Don't
I
just
think
enforce a rule for keepers.
feel like if we would have to bring up the rule book, because the way Fernandes and Jorginho are taking every single one of their penalties like that,
But it
surely
clearly follows a
refs would have
rule.
pulled them up if it isn't a rule.
It
Yeah,
clearly
no,
follows the
I'm
rule.
not saying.
But it's
I'm not saying
similar
it's
to
against the rules.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
saying
similar to
it's a legal way of taking a penalty, but they need to look at that because it's not fair. He's gaining an
completely, I
advantage
agree.
from doing it.
But Dan, like you said before, right? For the second one, Johnston was off his line again. The second one, so he was off his line for the second one, but it's gone in, so they've not retaken it. Had he have saved it, they would have retaken it. So
Yeah,
exactly,
should they not? Should they not have retaken it again because he was off his line?
To be fair,
Just because it went in, it's allowed.
If fair play to him for coming off his line again, I'd have just kept doing it. If I kept saving it, they'd have kept doing it, and they kept retaking it, I'd have just carried on.
They would have
I'm
sent him
not
off.
sure. To be fair, the second one he might have had his foot.
Yeah, they would have sent him off.
His foot on the line.
If think about it, if the refs told him stay on your line, and like you said, if you kept doing it over and over and over and over again,
I
it's
mean,
going to send him off. He's not listening to the refs.
if he gets sent off though, and then he comes out and says, "I'm going to keep doing it,"
Yeah, then that makes a statement.
Ridiculous.
And it makes a
That
statement.
makes a statement.
Yeah,
and I get it's probably cost
I think-
West Brom the game, but they've
Already though. Already,
Yeah,
I think
it's
he's made
cost
a
them the game,
statement in coming out and saying,
Yeah, he tweeted. Didn't he?
This
I
needs to be looked at
completely
because-
understand it. If he's got a problem with it,
yeah,
then fair play.
I think unless you're a goalkeeper, you're not really going to know that how hard it is to save a penalty when you're not allowed to step 1 yard off your line. I mean, none of us are goalkeepers, but like Cab said, for all of us that are outfield players, you can tell how easy it is to score a goal from 12 yards out when the goalkeeper has to pretty much stand behind his line. It's impossible for them to save it nowadays.
fair,
at the same time,
to be fair, it is quite difficult for Cavs because he can't reach the goal from 12 yards. So you usually have to take, I think, 6.
the thing is that
Is this guy alright? Is this guy alright? Like, man wasn't showing my fires before we started recording. Man's got bigger legs.
Don't say that.
Pause.
Don't say that.
Man's got bigger legs than Dan. Man's got bigger legs than Dan. So where's this coming from, bro?
People don't know the context to this.
Come on, Charles, what were you saying?
Bro, stand up.
I
Bro,
can't
crazy,
remember now.
bro.
Let me. I'll have to think.
God.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy.
For
I don't even
people
go
on the
gym.
Spotify.
I don't
people
even
on the
go gym.
Spotify, People on the Spotify, Cavs has just shown his stars to the camera.
No, but man's trying to call me out. I don't even go gym. That's a decent leg. Like the one that Regulon got as a present from Mourinho. It's a decent leg.
Jambon.
Carrying on from
Yes, JV.
instructed by Cavs' massive thighs that are bigger than Dan's. If Johnson, if he's coming out, obviously it's the same as VAR. He has now made a statement, and they will look at the rule. All the rules of the VAR need to change. That rule probably does need to change. But I mean, it's the thing with I just personally don't agree with the fact that coming off your line and making the goal smaller is the same as just in your run up.
But how is it making the goal smaller though? The goal's still the same size. It's
Because
because he came off his line slightly.
No, you know what I mean. If say every inch, every millimeter that he comes off his line, it makes it harder for Fernandes to score. If Sam Johnson is stood 5 yards from the ball, it's obviously going to be harder to score because he's like this. The goal's behind him.
Ball, is it? I mean,
That's not my point. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying the premise of it is if he comes any distance off his line, it's making it harder for the attacker to score. I know it's going back to the point that players should score from the spot no matter how.
In my opinion,
the scenario is. But
in my opinion, then there should be.
I don't think it's the same.
There should be some sort of like measurement that they're allowed to come a certain amount of yards off their line or a certain amount of centimeters off their line.
Where'd you draw the line?
Yeah, but you'd have to put another line
Yeah,
on.
but then you'd have another
realistic.
VAR line to say
it's not
centimeter
realistic.
off how
And
much
the
he's
keepers
allowed
could just
to,
start on that line there, and then they'd start jumping off that line.
No,
it's
no,
too much.
obviously-
Too much rule
No,
change.
because they've always had to start on their line. They've never been allowed to start off their line.
Oh, so you're saying they've got to start on their line, but they can move
Yeah,
a
and then they
certain
could-
amount of distance
Yeah,
when the
like
ball's
keepers used to. When keepers used to play like try and save penalties, they used to like stand on the line and then move
Yeah, but
forward.
rules change. The rules change.
Or
Maybe.
we could scrap it all and we could do penalties like the MLS used to do.
Oh yes.
I saw
that'd
some-
be
I
lit.
saw-
Every player clears the
That'd be
picture,
lit.
so he's got to run from the halfway line.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Google old MLS penalties and you will know.
I
Yeah.
saw someone on Twitter advocating that, saying that that's what it should
It'd
be.
actually be clash, you know.
It might,
Yeah,
think
I
I'd
don't
really
mind.
enjoy it.
I don't mind. Yeah.
it
It's
might
more
have been
entertaining
something
at least.
different though, where it's like the goalkeeper can only the goalkeeper can go anywhere in their 6-yard box, but they can't come out of their 6-yard box, something like that.
Oh god, that would create more bollocks to it.
Yeah,
No,
but if-
I don't know. It's
if
too
you-
much.
no,
It's
but
too
no, no, no.
It's easy to find.
Imagine
It's easy
someone
to think.
saves it and he's like, "Oh no, we've got to check whether he's in his 6-yard box," and then the
No,
guy has to
because-
run all the way back to halfway line,
No.
run all the way back at the keeper.
I agree with Jamie though, because you have the 6-yard line and that is the line you can't cross. That would then be so much easier to police than whether
Yeah.
you're.
It'd
If
be easier to
every single
like,
keeper comes off
measure.
his line, and every single keeper does it. Every single keeper comes off his line, but it's only noticed when they save it. And I do agree that's
It's
unfair.
true,
Like
yeah,
surely
that's
if you were to come off your line and then the player was to score, surely that's still an infringement of the rules, and then you're just allowed to take it again. But then at the same
Yeah.
time, keepers could just keep coming off their line.
Do you know
and then
what probably
they
makes
could
it
just
worse?
carry on going.
The Modern Game Podcast.